G'day fellas and welcome to a casted game of Age of Empires 4. Today we see two of the world's best players facing off on Himeyama. Welcome everybody. Let's get into it. Let's introduce our players because, well, they're titans. You probably recognize them already. Ladies and gentlemen, in the west of the map, in the color blue, playing as the French, representing Team Fox, it is Vortex. And over towards that east side of the map, in the color purple, playing as the Malians, representing Team Liquid, it's Demu. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Himeyama. Now, I read a comment on YouTube the other day, and it said, Drongo, every single game that we cast, you introduce the two players as two of the world's best players. Surely they can't all be the world's best players. Now, it's important that you understand that when it comes to these numbers, right, when you look at how many people play Age of Empires 4, and how many people are Conqueror 3, and then how many that are, out of those Conqueror 3 players, how many of them are competing in tournaments, and then how many of them are actually making it through to the final stages of those tournaments? Well, there's not a lot of them. And any player that is up towards that end, towards that echelon, will be one of the world's best players, and these two are absolutely no exception to that rule. Ladies and gentlemen, these are two of the best, two of the brightest when it comes to the business of Age of Empires 4 and fighting it out. We already start to see a little bit of difference in thinking coming out from these two players. We see Vortex early on in this game opens up with the fishing boats. At least two at the moment. Now keep in mind, this is something that is new to the French. We can see Vortex actually making a little bit of a mistake. An uncharacteristic mistake right here from Vortex. Now what is that mistake? That mistake is that he's got 30 population, so he actually built a house. Now, he might have actually needed to have built this house. I don't know. I didn't see what the numbers were, and there's a good chance that maybe he came down here, looked to try and get the dock up, and he didn't have enough time, so he had to build the house back home, something like that. But the dock now gives population space for the French, and that means that you don't have to get that house up. I guess as long as you get the dock down very quickly. But anyway, a little bit of a difference between the two. Other thing to note, though, is we do not see any secondary scout out from Demu. I would be very surprised if he doesn't go professional scouts, and that's just because the scouts from the Malians are very good. These scouts are some of the best damn scouts in the game because they get the warrior scout upgrade. Now, he's done well with the sheep as well, picking up 8 sheep so far. He'll be clicking for that age up the Mansa Quarry, no real surprise there. I can't remember the last time we saw the trade landmark, the Saharan Trade Network. Geez, that's been a while since we saw that. I think it must have been, remember that season that the Farimba Garrison was a thing? And it was mainly Corvinus that was actually doing work with it, and he would just go for the trade landmark, and everybody would be like, "Oh, he's gonna trade," and then he'd just go Castle Age and just kill you with the Farimba Garrison, and then he'd do the opposite. He would go for the Mansa Quarry, and then he'd start trading, because obviously the trade for the Malians is pretty good even without that landmark. But let's run on board with Vortex and check in with him because, well, from the side of Demu, I don't think that we're going to see too much trade today. For Vortex, though, do we see a Chamber of Commerce? Probably not. It's going to be a School of... Okay. You know, when he moves out over this way, like, it's going to be a school... it's going to be a School of Cavalry. And then you see him move back, and it's like, has he just, in his head, thought for a second, hey, maybe we should do a Chamber of Commerce? But obviously, he decided against it. Now, he's picked up a pretty decent amount of sheep back here as well. We see him up the 9th sheep now, still has the 1 sheep under the TC. I don't know whether he brought back some from around the starting area, but these are good numbers. Both players going to be relatively happy with how these have gone. Now, one thing to note, though, is Vortex may still look to go for professional scouts, even though he's got so many vessels out here in the middle of the map, just because this is a huge amount of food, and you really want to avoid giving that up to your opponent with professional scouts. And we can see him moving up towards the top side now. We're right on board with Demo. Now that he's aged up, we'll check in with him. You can see that gold's going to start trickling in. He's probably going to be looking to throw down a stable first. This is pretty standard opening with the stable. Obviously, he spots out the enemy landmark. He sees roughly how long it's going to take until it's online, but it is going to be a stable coming through for him. We're going to be checking in with the mill. You can see it slowly getting towards that professional scout amount. It's an expensive technology, but obviously it's incredibly powerful. He's now got enough gold for it. We can see he's actually just picked up warrior scouts. It's about, look at the macro. Honestly, the macro is so perfect right now from Demo. Next tick, he'll have enough resources for it. Professional scouts, there it is. It comes straight through. So warrior scouts are incredibly quick. So we see the upgrade goes from 1.62 to 1.75. Also increases their damage by 7. Or, sorry, not by 7, by 700%. So increases it. It goes from 1 to 7. So it gets increased by 6. But it's an increase of 700%, right? No. Maybe it's an increase of 600%. Because if it was 100%, then it would double. 300% would... Anyway, the damage goes from 1 to 7. we'll worry about percentages later. We do have the mill coming up on the berries. Now, normally you wouldn't be looking to put a mill on the berries, but I'm sure you can imagine why that might be. He's got 6 vills on gold. The warrior scout's going to come into the back of the base. Vortex spots it. He's got a little bit of gold in the kitty at the moment, but keep in mind that the upgrades for the French are quite a bit cheaper, so he should still be able to get out professional scouts from that. And we do see the horsemen coming out to look to defend in this situation. He's going to go wheelbarrow instead. Wild, absolutely wild. So he's gone into wheelbarrow double broadaxe instead of going into professional scouts. I wonder what the thinking behind that is, but we can see right now the professional scouts able to chase down the amateur scouts. This is normally what happens in a lot of competitions, and Age of Empires 4 is no different. Professional scouts are notorious for their... Not really. Their combat ability, their combat ability is the same as every other scout. Their name doesn't even change. In fact, we should be calling these warrior scouts with the professional scout upgrade. But you can see the number he's got out now. He's already got 6 out. So you're basically sniping an entire hunt right now if you bring all the scouts out. And these hunts are very exposed here towards the center of the map. Now, behind the back of the base, we do see the Royal Knight comes out. It's going to be the Donzo that actually meets it. And that's always fun, to be running into the enemy spears when you've got a knight like that. I tell you what, I remember playing French and just running into enemy spears and thinking, how do you just know where I'm going to come in and attack? And I mean, realistically, there's only a couple of places that you're exposed, right? You're not exposed under the TC. You're only exposed on the wood line. You get a couple of vills out over on the gold that are building houses. That's more of a temporary measure more than anything. So this is going to be the primary spot that you're looking to be attacked from on the wood. So as long as we can defend this, we'll be A-okay. But now moving out onto the map, we see the Horseman is going to try and punish the professional scouts here, but I don't really think it's going to happen. The Horseman is not doing a whole bunch of damage here, only 10 damage. Sorry, I gave you guys a very loud B there, and that was not my intention. My intentions were good. Anyway, it's slowly getting to that sort of early to mid transition period, and now the question becomes, how does Vortex look to play this? Because normally when you're playing against the Malians, it's very difficult because going for a second town center is always a bit tough, because the Malians have the ability to put the pressure or put the pedal to the metal at realistically any point. They can choose if they want to go hard in the feudal age, if they want to wait a little bit for castle age, and if they spot that second TC, you better believe the demo is going to look to commit to a kill early on in this game. So I think Vortex is going to have to be he's going to be careful. But in saying that, Vortex is the kind of guy who's quite happy to play one base. We've seen it many times. It's quite often, you know, if you take a look at any Vortex games, they are going to be lasting maybe between 14 minutes, 15 minutes, 16 minutes, because he is so damn aggressive. The question's going to be whether this one is the same case, or whether Demu's going to be able to match that aggression on the defense. We can see he is starting to build up units up to 7 Donzos at the moment, slowly sieging down the pit mine. The Donzo's going to look to try and throw their arrows off. Their arrows, I guess, they're technically javelins, I think. Archer's going to look to try and slowly shoot down those Donzos. Wants to avoid losing out too much here. We're right on board with Demo on the defense as he slowly loses away those troops and loses out position. Meanwhile, those knights continue to put pressure on the pit mine. More scouts now looking around towards this top side. He's got more reinforcements coming in. Look at Demo as he makes his way over towards the top side of his base. Plenty of warrior scouts coming in, and the Donzo's going to look to dive down the middle as well. Warrior scouts chasing their way through, looking to try and connect. He wants the warrior scouts attacking onto the spears, and he wants the Donzos attacking pretty much anything, but ideally you want to be hitting the enemy cav, and that was a beautiful little javelin that we got to see right there. But you can see just how much damage, or not how much damage, but rather how much damage, yeah, we'll go with damage. How little damage, let's go with that. How little damage Demu is doing with the warrior scouts. It's 7 damage, that's it. They don't get bonus damages against ranged units. They don't get any bonus damage against, you know, anything that's on the field at the moment. It is just quite literally 7 damage a pop. So it's going to take a while to get through this. Meanwhile, more knights continue to come out, and this is going to be a decent little spot here for Vortex, because he is keeping all of these scouts in the middle, which is exactly where he wants them. If they're in the middle, then they're not denying out these hunts. Because the moment that he lets up, that's the moment that he lets up is the moment that he loses these hunts. And we can already see up towards the north that he's going to be a boar taker. Now, you're not going to be able to get a boar on the back of a scout, no matter how professional it is, but you will be able to snipe away these deer carcasses. And it looks like If we ride on board with Vortex, he doesn't actually see the deers coming in. And now he will spot it out. Let's see if he responds and how long it takes. You can see he's still yet to respond. Still yet to respond. Still yet to respond. Now he finally gets that response in. But as we can see, Demu is well and truly on the way with the heist. The venison is slowly being taken out. Where are the Donzos? The Donzos are here. He's only got the single one. And he's looking to try and keep everything together. Hey, get out of here. Get out of here, Chief. You're gonna have to give that one up. I don't think you're getting that one, Demo. And you can see it's a bit weird how they work. It's very frustrating trying to put these units into formation when they've got different speeds like that, because the slower and this is let me explain it. Okay, you've got a slow unit and a fast unit, and the slow unit is in front of the fast unit. The slow unit will slow down even slower while it waits for the faster unit to catch up. If those two units just got individual commands, the fast unit would eventually catch up to the slow unit. But instead, what happens is the slow unit slows down to allow for the fast unit to catch up so that they can be in formation. And it's really frustrating. And we just saw part of the reason why Demu doesn't get that deer carcass there was because he told all of them to come together. And it means that the one that's carrying the carcass that's over here, well, actually I think it's probably over here because that's where it's dropped. And the one that didn't have the carcass that was diving in, that one is going to slow down this one at the front. And it's just one of those little things that it has perpetually frustrated me about Age of Empires 4, and it still hasn't been fixed. And this was something that kind of existed back in Age of Empires 3. You could use it quite often. It was called the pull trick, and you could actually make units that were lagging behind. So in that situation, we had that one lagging. It will actually move faster to get into formation, but the consequence of that is that these front ones do slow down. So I think understanding how that works and manipulating how that works can be beneficial for players, but at the same time it can be a double-edged sword in that if you forget about it, or if you don't observe it, or in just a situation like that where you're under pressure and there's a lot of units and you're not sure exactly what the best play is, that looking back in hindsight you can see there's a bit of a mistake. Anyway, we'll move on. We'll move forward, and we'll wait and see exactly what the play is going to be here for Demu as he looks to snipe away even more of these deer. Now the age up has come through on the side of Vortex. It's going to be the Guildhall, an instrumental landmark for the French, and it guarantees that throughout the game there will be a lovely steady trickle of whatever resource he chooses. We did see many seasons ago, Don Ardi was the man who patented the concept of generating food up until about 2,000 food, which was enough typically to hit the Imperial Age, and you just switch over to gold in this time frame, as you can see Vortex is doing right now, and then you would be able to go fast Imperial, and that was always nice. It was always fun going fast Imperial. But will we see that today? Let's have a look and see. Has he switched off food? He hasn't actually switched off food. And look, Vortex, the kind of guy who's not going to forget about a Guildhall. We can say that much. But let's check in and see how Demu's doing, as he has denied pretty much all of the deer off the map. There's 3 carcasses to the north. This deer has been taken, and to be honest, this is really nice for Demu. He has now secured almost 10,000 food underneath the town center safe. Now, obviously, he'd be able to back that up with cows if he wanted to, but you typically want to avoid that. So it's been a pretty solid investment for him, considering he put, what, 75 wood, 275 gold into that, and the return on that is 10,000, almost 10,000 safe food. Grand Fulani Corral going to be coming down, aka the Big Cow landmark. There ain't no Farimba garrison getting thrown down here, even though they do have access to that those new units. It's yeah, it's not happening, Chief. Not today. All right, well, on the defense once again as Vortex makes his way around that top side. Slight score lead for the moment for the French player. Need to see a couple more Sofa Warriors here for Demu, or maybe even some Javelin Throwers. Javelin Throwers can do work in this situation. The extra range time is really going to help him out. And let's have a look and see, do we have Archery Rangers coming down? No, he's just going to be sticking it out with a melee comp for the moment. He's looking to add in more pastures. They're not called pastures, they're called cattle ranches. The pastures are the Mongol buildings. Pastures is another one that carries over from Age of Empires 3. Tell you what, maybe I'm going to give Age of Empires 3 a visit. It's been a while since I played Age of Empires 3, but, you know, I sometimes I'll see people on my friends list, they'll go in and they'll play Age of Empires 3. You got to, you know, it's... I was going to say something right there. It's like checking your ex on Facebook, just seeing how she's doing. Sorry, I shouldn't. Okay. Don't, nobody send this to my wife, all right? I don't have Facebook. I don't have exes. Hey, I don't have a wife. Anyway. Sorry. Let's move on. Let's check in and see how Vortex is doing. Because keep in mind, he is pumping right now. There's a lot of units on the field. Still just sticking with the 2-unit combo. And I mean, realistically, is that all you need to do? I'd kind of like spears from him here, right? Like, spears make sense. Because if your enemy is going like what we've seen, it's mass Donzo together with scouts and Sofa. Like at the moment, you're kind of at risk of just a scout Sofa combo, where your opponent looks to overwhelm your archers and your knights. Whereas if you start throwing in spears, then all of a sudden you're not subject to that, or not what's the word? You're not at risk of losing out that way. Let's check in and see how things are doing back here. Still on food. We're at 360 at the moment. It's going to climb. It's going to continue to climb. Knights around the backside. Now, keep in mind, Demu does have a lot of scouts out, but no scouts in position to spot this bad boy out. More cav coming through. It's going to be the veteran Sofa. Scouts on the bottom side of the base. Going to look to try and find anything that they can angle towards. Spot a whole bunch of villagers on the wood, on the gold. Sees the vills on stone as well and says, hey, you're probably going for a keep there, aren't you? Manages to catch a couple of vills here as they do the waddle. That's going to be one that he takes down. That's a second one that goes down. It was a slow and steady beat. But meanwhile, back in the base of Demu, Vortex is working his magic. Scout goes down, loses the knight as well. Meanwhile, back over towards that main base, Demu does look to get those scouts out. Keep in mind, they are very, very quick. You will almost be outrunning a horseman with that speed. But not quite. But almost. But not quite. But almost. All right, well, more sieging coming through as Vortex takes down one of these houses. Don't worry, these houses are easy to fix. Nice little Wallalol attempt. Not gonna happen. These guys are too fast. Look at the distance that they get. Like, the Wallalol starts and the scouts were here. The Wallalol ends and the scouts are just, they are gone. He tries to come through for that one Vill. Not gonna be able to find it. Both players taking out a decent number of Vills already. Spots those deer carcasses and said, well, hold on a minute. Maybe we could loop back around for those. Meanwhile, Sofa Warriors, and you can see the numbers are starting to build here for him as Demu enters double digits now with the Sofa Warriors up to 11. This is where Vortex has got to say 100%, I'm going to start committing to some sort of anti-cavalry unit. Ideally, you want spears, but you could look into Arbaletrier as well. They are quite decent in that they've got a lot of melee armor once they've got their Gambesons upgrade. But at the moment, he does actually have 2 of them on the field, so no upgrade just yet. So we will be looking out for this Gambesons upgrade. And this will actually be very nice for him if he can look to play into this if Demu keeps making scouts. Because with scouts, they've got a low amount of damage. You can see at the moment only 10 damage on them. And because of that 10 damage, once you've got the Gambesons upgrade, so they've got a base of 1, Gambesons gives them up to 6, and then you get +1/+2 will give you 7 and then 8 armor. It's a nice amount of armor to have, that is for sure. And we can see fitted leatherwork still yet to come in just yet for Vortex. Now, riding on board with Demu as he makes his way around the south side of the enemy base, looking to spot out any troops whatsoever. He's got the full melee composition now as he makes his way through, but up towards that top side. Spots out Vortex's army. The scouts call out. Meanwhile, behind it, looks like we've got a galley in the middle of the map. Also got the Royal Knight being chased around by a couple of... by just a couple of Sofa Warriors, and it's going to be another religious unit cleaned up. But Vortex actually takes 4 of the 5 relics for the moment. This is the 4th relic coming through. 5th relic's outside the base. Demu actually dropping the ball in that regard. Normally, after the Castle Age comes through, we do see the moss getting thrown down quite quickly, but we don't see that here, and we've got a big raid. That's what we do definitely see. Look at that amount of vills that have gone down. 23 is taken out already, 24. That's a huge amount of villagers just lost right there. Demu now down to 35 vills. That is a massive loss, and undoubtedly going to be looking to clap back. This is imperative at this stage of the game that he finds a way to clap back here against the French, because the French are up 63 to 36 vills. It is a huge amount of villagers to be up here. And Vortex, realistically, at this stage of the game, all you want to do right now is just pump units. Pump units and try and avoid losing vills, and you're going to be in a really good spot. But Wallalol not going to be successful. Of course, the Donzos with their javelin throw start off and do some decent damage and manage to take it out. Meanwhile, towards the south side, Musafadi together with the Sofa now going to start making their way through. Looks like the Royal Knights are just going to head back towards that wood line once again. And keep in mind, there's no wood behind the base back here for Demu. A terrible spawn for him, actually. Now that I think about it, this is really not a good spawn for him compared to the wood line that we do see behind the base of Vortex. If we take just a quick look, normally towards the back corner, there's a lot of wood. Now, this is a decent amount of wood. It's not a huge amount, but it's still decent. Compare that to Demu, and he is just absolutely barren back here. He's got just a handful of trees dotted around the base, and that's really it. Next expansion is going to have to be north, and that sucks. It always sucks with stuff like that. Compare that to, you know, this kind of expansion, wall, and you're completely safe. Not the case here for Demu. Now, we did just check in with that guild hall. It's at 1840 food, and now it has been sitting there idle for a while, that guild hall. And you want to know something else that's been sitting here idle for a while? My drink of the day. Can you guess what it's going to be? I'll give you 10 seconds. Leave a comment. Go on. Okay, it's in a glass. I'll give you guys that. It's got pulp. Oh, you got it. You got it. Yep, it's the orange juice. I could have gone with something. I could have said something different, but I'm not. You want to know something interesting? We found out my youngest, he's allergic to pineapple. Isn't that weird? I've never heard of a pineapple allergy before, but well, I have now because he's got it. Red Palace gonna get cancelled. Vortex, he might be doing well in this game, but he's made a little bit of a mistake here because all of a sudden he's gonna get caught with his pants down. Military advantage in favor of Demu. We were talking about the prospect of fast Imperial earlier on in this game. We said it ain't likely that Vortex is going to commit to it. Now he's starting to think, maybe I shouldn't have. He looked to try and go for it, loses out all those troops over on the backside towards Demu's base, continues kiting into the base. He should be fine in this situation. He's got the keep to help him out, beautifully positioned amongst all of these stables and archery ranges. He's got a good mass as well. I think it was a scary amount of units that were coming in, but fortunately, it looks like Vortex is able to thin the herd. Meanwhile, in the base, in the main base of Demu, the numbers are really starting to build for his army, and despite losing all of that mass, I don't know exactly what the go there was. Like, I think getting the cancel here on the Red Palace was great, and picking up these kills back here was wonderful, but then we just kind of threw it away underneath the keep. I was going to call it a palace. It's not a palace. This is a palace. This is a Red Palace. Do we see any more palaces this game? We got the Malians? I don't think we do. There's no palaces for the Malians, is there? I'm just give me a check. I just gotta make sure. You know, Griot Bara, Fort of the Huntress. There's definitely no palaces, but maybe Griot Bara. No, Griot Bara is that's not a palace. That's not a palace, Drongo. There's no Schwabias here. There's no Elsbach. Elsbach Palace? Yeah, it's a palace as well, isn't it? Yep. There's no kings around here. But there is a big red palace on top of the hill. Now, I don't know if I really like this positioning. This is one of those things that it's always a bit difficult to justify a red palace like this, but Vortex looks to commit to it. He says, no, I think this is a good spot. Relics are actually going to be exposed here on the ground. Now, does Demu have backup on the way in the form of religious units? Villagers back here, no imams for the moment, and now going to be forced away by the archers together with the Arbaletrier. Elite upgrades on the way through. It's going to be elite Arbaletrier out of everything. Town center in the back of the base, and oh, I love this style. I love this play. The French fast Imperial is actually legit. This is super cool. So the whole concept for this is very simple, right? So this is all starting to make a bit more sense. You go forward, you take the Red Palace. The whole idea here is that you're securing the stone, and with the stone, you're able to make more town centers. That's pretty simple, right? That's pretty straightforward. And the good thing about the town center is that the town center has got the Arbalist emplacement. That's what makes it incredible. So that's what the Red Palace does. It activates an Arbalist emplacement on all keeps and town centers. And basically it just says, you can't attack into me. You can try and attack into me, but I've got an Arbalist emplacement here, here. And this thing attacks quick, right? It's every 1.5 seconds, it's putting out huge damage. It makes it very difficult to dive this. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see Vortex put down a third town center. I really wouldn't be surprised to see that, especially in the position that he's in at the moment, 74 vills. Like, to me, it just makes sense. There it is. There's the third TC coming in right now. Now, would you go fourth TC here? Probably not. 3 is more than enough, especially because you're Imperial Age. Remember, your vills are training 1 every 16 seconds. So, you know, what are you getting from 4 that you're not getting from 3? I don't know. I don't know. It's one of those things where it's just, you know, it makes a little bit more sense to probably stick with 3, just because the investment is quite significant. But the age up comes through for Demu as well. We actually didn't flash that one up on the screen. It's going to be the Fort of the Huntress. The forts are taking over. The Palace of Redness and the Huntress Fort. The Huntress Fort, the Fort of the Huntress. The Huntress's special fort that's also a palace. Let's go with that. Anyway, what was I talking about before? Oh yeah, my little one. My little one is allergic to pineapple. So he's got eczema, which is quite common for children. I had eczema when I was a kid. I think my wife had eczema when she was a kid. My eldest, he didn't have eczema at all. So I guess we got lucky with him. But yeah, the youngest one, we were feeding him pineapple one day, and his eczema just flared up like crazy. Went into like a whole itchy, crazy itch fest. Look at this, another keep coming up from Vortex, probably going to be denied. A lot of vills here, 13 vills. Vortex only just sees it now. Demi going to get a decent surround on the back here. There we go, now he gets the surround. I was going to say, what's going on with that? Elite upgrades are through for the sofa. He could have taken out all of these, but instead of getting them all, he's going to let them live. Anyway, yeah, so that's it. Little man's got an allergy to pineapple, which sucks, right? Because pineapple is like that's an S tier fruit. Like, that's an objectively S tier fruit. No two ways about it. You've got, like, juice that you can make from pineapple, fruit salad where pineapple comes in. Like, name a better fruit, name a more versatile fruit than pineapple, and don't say apple because it's already in the pineapple. You can't. You can't. You just... Is there something more versatile? I mean, there's a lot of S tier fruits when you think about it, right? Orange is definitely S tier. Watermelon, objectively S tier as well. How good is watermelon on a hot day? Especially, you know when you get those good watermelons? By the way, have a look at this. We got triple TCs on both sides. I love that Demu just reacts immediately. Says, oh, you're going for TCs at the back here? I guess I'll just throw down TCs myself. Just keeps himself safe. Make sure he doesn't fall behind in that economy race. So really nice play there. For the moment, it's 2 relics against 3. So in the end, Demu managed to snipe away a monk that was up to monk that was up towards the north. How is this deer still alive, but it doesn't appear on my minimap? Explain that to me, atheists. So there's technically 4 deer still up here, but no one sees it on their minimap. It might be like the boar luring trick. Have they fixed that? I don't know if they fixed that. So with the boar, if you take the boar to its aggro radius, it will just not be on the minimap anymore. It would just go. And I remember on high view, you would do that against Roost players. And to be honest, it's bug exploiting. But it was mad, right? Because like when you think about it, high view, dude, that map was so impossible to find things on. So if you'd run into a boar, you would just aggro it, run it to its radius, and then your enemy would never find it, dude. They'd have to go looking through the trees like, where's the boar? Impossible. Anyway, I suspect it's probably... Nah, you know what? It probably hasn't been fixed. Anyway, Vil count, it's going to slowly fall. He gets a couple of them, Vortex does. He's up 32 Vils at the moment. We'll actually check in with the economy shortly. We're 26 minutes into the game. The archers are going to get donated away because we've got a whole bunch of Arbaletriers here. He does have the Pavis shield ready to deploy. Keep in mind that he's already got the upgrade, the Gambeson's upgrade, so he's got plenty of armor. You can see he's up to 7 at the moment. Yet to pick up any fitted leatherwork. So technically he's still got another 3 melee armor that he could get on these bad boys. It's kind of wild that he hasn't though. I'm looking for the blacksmith. Like where is the blacksmith? Is it towards the front? There it is. Oh my god, I'm blind. Blind as a bat. Okay, finally we see it coming through fitted leatherwork. Jeez, I tell you what, it's an upgrade, that's for sure. It's definitely one of the upgrades. Gold actually. Look how fast he's sieging. Oh my lord, that's not even with Griobara. That's just siege. That's just him sieging down a guild hall because he doesn't like the look of it. Jeez Louise. Far out. Why was that so fast? Does the Fort of the Huntress bonus damage also carry over to siege? Perhaps it does. That thing went down quick, man. Like, I didn't even have time to sing Kesha. Jeez Louise. All right, well, Muso Fadi. Incredibly powerful unit. I love this unit. I think this is one of the best units. And the player in particular that changed my mind on this unit was Crackety here. Crackety here just started going fast Imperial for Muso Fadi. And to me, this is a unit that's just unstoppable. I don't know what counters this unit. Now, typically that was against players that were in like the Castle Age, not against Imperial Age players. And not against Vortex. That's another thing to note. Was not against Vortex, one of the world's best players. So we'll see exactly what the play is here for Demu. But at the moment, it's going to be that melee combo. He's quite literally just committing to this bit. 100%. No archers in sight. No javelin throwers whatsoever. It is just a full melee comp. And it's working well so far. I mean, we had a little bit of an issue over here, but this wasn't related to the melee comp. Now, he's actually taken out a decent amount of workers on the flip side. He's managed to find a way back into this. And you know what else has managed to find a way back into this cast? My orange juice. Give me a second. That's good orange juice. That is good OJ. That's not Costco orange juice, which is some of the best orange juice, but I think it's probably the same supplier. They just don't have the 7-gallon jug that we get. That's the difference. You know Costco, you know how it is, man. You walk into Costco and you walk out with like a 4-pack of grand pianos, dude. Like, it's tough, man. It's tough. Oh gosh, I don't know how do I fall for it every single time? I came in here for a chicken and some juice, and I'm walking out with a 4-pack of pianos. Anyway, we'll solve that problem anyway, eventually. Let's check in and see how Vortex is doing, because keep in mind, Demu's got the sacred sites, so I don't think he's actually going for a sacred victory, and this is one of those things where it's like, you're not really going for a sacred victory, but we do still have to respect it, just in case he decides to go for it, because it can get to like 5 minutes or 4 minutes, and you're like, hold on, I can actually do this. And you don't want to allow the enemy to have that opportunity. But Arbaletrier now going to tee off on this front line here. He's got only a handful of men-at-arms. Vil count still looking good for him on that economic side. Beautiful control coming out. Pavis shield, is he going to look to put it down? I think this is a great spot that you can definitely be happy putting it down. You get a little bit of extra range in here. Get yourself a little bit of ranged armor. Not that you really need that ranged armor up against all these melee units. Interestingly, he's picked up +3 ranged armor, but we don't see any melee armor against a guy who's made only melee units this game. He's going to continue kiting away. No Pavis shield needed at the moment. Vils make their way out, say, hey, we got a call for evac here. 15 jump inside the first of the keeps. And once again, Demu's going to just throw away a lot of army underneath the keep. But fortunately, he hears the bell ring and decides to get out while he's still got a couple bits of the army left. It's a good little spot that Vortex is in. He's slowly expanding out on this map as well. Moving forward, we've seen the stone walls come in on the south side. No stone walls towards the north, but it's less problematic, mainly because his army is up towards the north. I'd be much more likely or much more willing. I'd love to see him continue this stone wall up. Even just up to here would be wonderful, because there's still so much risk that you've got like a blind run through could happen right on this spot. And it's just one of those things, right? We've seen Demo run by before. And if he goes for another run by, I was gonna say a Ling run by, but that would not be the correct game. That would be a StarCraft 2 unit. But we've seen these run-bys come through before, and there is a huge risk that you lose out a large portion of your economy. Now, granted, you got 3 TCs, you produce Vils faster. It's not a big deal if you lose, 5, 10 Vils. But let's check in with the economies, because it's been some time. Even though Vortex only now just moves out over onto the gold, let's compare the pair. So we got 3K between these two, 5.3, 5.4K coming out for Demo. Compare that to Vortex, and he's sitting on about 1,500, 4,500. So advantage definitely in the ball court, or in the court of Demo at the moment. Now, Vortex did just move a whole bunch of Vils over to gold, so maybe it'll take time to reflect that, but hand cannon is going to start coming out for Demo on the defense. Both players approaching that maximum population. And now Vortex looking to try and kite away from the enemy. You can see all these Musofadi as they're coming through. Up in the rear, we've also got the hand cannoneers that are doing a decent job. The Arbaletrier has just traded so effectively in this situation. Keep in mind, the hand cannoneers have got it. Oh, look at the micro. He's actually looking to try and hit the units on the backside. We've got pretty much every single upgrade you'd want for the Arbaletrier right now, with the exception, I don't think he's got +3. No, he does have +3 melee armor. So he is good to go now. And it looks like the stone wall did get extended up, so this is perfect. This is exactly what you want. Even here, I'd be a little bit cautious. I think against a player like Demu, who is, I wouldn't say is necessarily known for his run-bys, but he's definitely shown in the past he's happy to do it. I would say you want 100% stone walls. And what do I mean by that? I mean that you want your base 100% sealed. You don't want any kind of leakage coming through, because if there is a hole, you better believe he is going to force that plug out, and he is going to say goodbye. And he's just going to run through. So we'll ride on board with him and watch what the plan is for him as he begins to move into a more hand cannon focused composition. The Musafari Gunner, of course, the unique hand cannoneer for the Malians. Particularly strong against armored units, just because it's got that really high damage. So it will do, it's able to bypass a lot of that armor. Doesn't actually get bonus damage against heavy units. It's just that, if you think about it, right, if an enemy's got 10 armor and you've got 15 damage, then you'll do 5 damage to it. Whereas if you've got 40 damage, then you're going to be doing 30 damage to it. So a lot more of your damage is getting through. But take a look at this. Actually spots out the siege workshops on the back line. And just as we suspected, Demo, the kind of guy who's going to look for a little bit of a wraparound, does exactly that. Takes out the villain, then just starts sieging down the siege workshops, because Siege U in particular. A little bit of a wolf on the backside as well. Army continuing to move up for him now on this front. Hand cannoneers could look to work some magic, but it's just going to be the Musofadis underneath the town center for the moment. Keep in mind, we do have that emplacement in. It's going to help in that defense. You can see how quickly it's able to take these units out. And indeed, the raid is cleaned up just with these emplacements. Meanwhile, Demo moving slowly towards that max population. 131 eco units for Vortex. 107 for Demo. There's a lot more going on behind the scenes when it comes to Demo's economy. Keep that in mind. Pit mines. That's a big part of it. Cows. Another big part. So I think roughly about 500 gold a minute coming through from the pit mines and about 1,000 food a minute, maybe a little bit more from the cows. We'd have to double check the numbers. But now moving forward, hand cannoneers on the south side. We're right on board with Vortex, and you can see the Horde now coming in. It's like we're watching the Zerg here as Demu, even though he's a bit of a Terran player, channels is in a Zerg and says, we are going to flood the map right now. Plenty of units on this back line. The archers have been upgraded to elite status, and Arbaletrier, you can see they're struggling to keep up with the amount of units here just because of the lack of attack speed that they've got. Compare that to the archers, and they are just teeing off. Arbaletrier, 2.12 seconds. Meanwhile, the archers, how much are they doing? They're doing 1.62. So quite a nice bit of difference. All the units moving underneath the keep. Any boiling oil in play? Not quite yet. And that's going to mean that Demu is able to take full advantage of these ranged units underneath this keep. Mango. Have we got any upgrades? Not yet. Adjustable crossbars on the way through, and that's definitely going to look to turn the tide. But until that upgrade's through, you don't have to respect this Mango not nearly as much as you respect a pineapple, my son. Meanwhile, Mango shots off. Does 3 damage to a single archer. Oh gosh. More units coming up the rear as both players have max population capacity. Horsemen now going to be coming in on the south side. You can see that they're starting to take that poison damage. It's slowly ticking them down. They are going to be taken out by the archer mass. More and more units continue to come out for both of these players. It's going to be spears finally added in. I think it might be the first spear of the game we're seeing for Vortex. It's going to be an elite spear. You can see that he's having a little bit of trouble here. He's actually sieging down these buildings with your units. The consequence of not having any of that backup siege. And look at this. You know, all these units could be contributing to this battle towards this front. He's got a huge amount of units here. But unfortunately, it's just that they're a little bit distracted, a little bit preoccupied with the buildings. And look, that's one of the changes that the devs made where attack move affects buildings. And it's like, I don't know, man. Not a fan. No poison arrows on this. I'm not dreaming that, right? Like, that actually happened, didn't it? Maybe I'm just talking porkies again. It's something I like to do. I talk a little pork. I do. All right, well, let's keep things kosher in here because Vortex is slowly making progress on this front. Have a look at the resource count here. Both players are kind of keeping their heads above water here. But we do start to see enlistment incentives, so that's going to reduce this cost down ever so slightly on these production facilities. Now, he's got plenty of production back here. A couple of these are racks. Racks is a little bit misplaced here, but I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, you know, we're not too fussed about it. Vils get chased off. He's at 143 Vils, which is a lot of Vils. Now, where does he go for gold? We haven't talked much about the gold. In the south, this keep is occupied. Up towards the north, he's struggled with it. There's another 4K up here. I don't know what the players or why he brought these back. They're kind of safe in this area. But more horsemen going to be rallied in, and we start to see this French composition again. This is something we've seen game after game after game, where the French love to go Arbaletrier horsemen together with a Mango on the back. This is a really nice composition, and it just feels like it deals with everything super effectively. So we'll have to see what the play is for Demo on the other side, and whether he's going to find something, maybe reach up that sleeve and pull out a couple of aces. We'll have to see what the play is. There's the Bombard now coming out. He's mixing in archers more and more. He's up to 32 now, 11 with Sofadi. As the front is being compromised by the scouts. Cannon emplacements through. Boiling oil not yet researched. Up towards the north, the Vils do move, but the Vil count, or rather the gold count for this map is starting to dwindle. Now, when it comes to infinite gold, there's a couple of ways that we can produce it. Of course, Vortex has got access to the guild hall. We've got relics for both players. We've got 3 on one side, 2 on the other. The other thing that we do have access to is trade. So keep an eye out for trade. We may potentially see that here as these gold veins do slowly get exhausted. And not having a deli in this game, or deli player in this game, it means that these gold veins are going to be taken a lot more quickly than you would see a deli player take them. But have a look at this. A little bit of a run by now for Vortex. Just after Demu was caught on the other side of the map, doing plenty of run bys. Vortex says, I'm gonna hit you back with another one. And let's see how we go with it. Meanwhile, Bombard is going to start moving up here. He'll look to try and siege down this keep. Range on the keep, 9.5 tiles, up against the 10 from the Bombard. It outranges it ever so slightly, as long as you can position it correctly. I don't know what the play is here, how he's angling it, but we'll check in. We'll see that angle. More Vils are going down here. Demo down to 90 Vils here. He's lost quite a bit. Take a look at this Vil count. But, I mean, both of them have taken out a significant amount of units this game, or villages this game. But now 50 Vils taken out by Vortex against Demo. I think Vortex may have deleted a couple of Vils just because he was sitting on so many. He had 143. And it's something to always be cognizant of as you do play in these games. you got 35 horsemen in queue, right? Like, you could delete 35 vills, and you could instantly build 35 horsemen. Maybe you don't have 35, maybe you don't have 35 stables, but you guys get the idea, right? So you always want to be on the balance of that, but normally a number around this is pretty healthy. 124, 134, somewhere in that region is good. So Demu's going to try and look to get back up on the horse, because he's definitely struggled a bit with the run-bys that have gone through. I'd love to see him get more walls up. Even at the very least, just a palisade wall up, just to buy yourself just a little bit, just even like 5 seconds to get in position, could make all the difference. And now Triple Bombard going to be moving up. He manages to hit the Mango in the back line. He's going to need two more shots to take it out, maybe. Cannon's looking to focus down the keep. They're on the front line here. The horsemen are going to come straight forward. He's going to have to fall back. First one goes down. That's an expensive loss. Second one getting focused now. More units being rallied in towards this position. Demu, 190 pop. He's got plenty of resources in the back. Looking to siege down this keep. Any vills going to be brought forward? No vills here. There's the vills now coming up. Looking to get the repair off. Plenty of units for Demu. Look at the amount of units he is scrambling together. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, he's cleaned up all the cavalry. It has been well and truly cleaned up. The archer numbers looking good once again. Arbaletrier numbers have fallen now for Vortex, and Demu once again takes that military lead. This is a non-stop action-packed game. This is kind of crazy. Like, both of them have just kind of, you know, set up and teed off, and they are looking to go crazy at this stage of the game. Like, there are so many units rallying out towards this. Look at the production that we're seeing for both players as non-stop amounts of units get sent out towards this northern location. But the gold is going to start running low shortly. In the south of the map, all the gold has been exhausted. Demu on 700, less than 700 gold a minute coming through as the keep goes down. That gold up in the north has literally just been exhausted. There is no gold left on this map. The only gold you'll find is the gold in the guild hall, the gold in the relics, and the gold in the pit mines. That's it. There's no gold anywhere else to be found. And also traders. I think that's it. I think I've covered every... Oh, the sacred sites. We've also got the sacred sites in play. So keep that in mind as well. Mango's getting a couple shots off. Somehow Vortex finds a way back in as the keep falls down. He says, no. I got it. Just keep it calm, boys. 160 pop, 200 pop. Somehow, the unit stopped coming for Demu. He's got 27 Donzos in queue. It's a man with a lot of Donzos. 27 Donzos in queue. Now, I don't know if you really want to be making Donzos at this point. I think ideally you'd love to have a bit more gold-heavy units, like the Musofati, but with a lack of gold now, I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing those markets coming up very soon, and the trade undoubtedly will be commencing any second. 2k gold in the bank for Vortex. Plenty of gold to fund some trade if you wish to. Demu, 200 gold, not as much. Meanwhile, more and more units going to be rallied out here. Does he look to move back into scouts? We did see him utilize them earlier. So it could be an opportunity for him to get back into those scouts. He's got a lot of food income at the moment. 3,300 food income. That is quite a bit of food coming through. Stone being taken as well. Vortex just moving around the map, taking everything that he can. Arbaletrier gets taken out. Let's check in. What do we got? Yeah, there we go. Triple market now going to be coming in. So I think it's imperative for Demu at this stage of the game to secure the trade route. So what does that mean? That means stone walls. So we want to see stone walls across here. We want to see stone walls across here. We want to see stone walls all the way up along the edge here, because we don't want this to happen. We don't want our traders to be harassed by these horsemen. And now that's easier said than done, but up towards the north, you can see that we've already got those walls coming through for Vortex. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's starting to think about maybe doing a little bit of the same himself. We don't see anything just yet for him, but he does have that gold in the bank, 2.6k, and he's also got the gold from the guild hall as well to contribute. Let's double check and see how that guild hall's doing. He actually just took out from the guild hall now. Both players still pretty even Stevens. Max population 200. These Mangoes are just kind of sitting on the back. Unresponded to at the moment. Donzo's going to try and get a dive up the middle. Arbaletrier stand in the front. It's Musofati's there as well. They're going to clang them down. You can see he's actually doing work. First one goes down. Second one, he manages to come through, and you can see how much he's got to commit to try and take these out. Archers are going to try. He gets off a shot towards the back. Only 2 of 3. Dude, you don't even see the health bars anymore. They just die. They're just dead. That's the new Mango, baby. Well, Demu manages to clean up. Walks away with quite a bit of an army advantage, and all of a sudden, things are looking up for him. Vortex tries to drop a keep on this stone. I don't know, man. I don't know, Chief. Something tells me it ain't going to get up. It might be this huge Malian army that we've got here. Now, keep in mind, Demu actually picked up a compilation here. So he's picked up the final mining upgrade. which means that he extended out his resources a little bit more than what Vortex has. He doesn't yet have that upgrade. Dives once again onto the Mango. More horsemen back through. And Demu's being... I mean, this is a wall. We can say that much. This is definitely a wall. This is an aggressive wall. And just to talk a little bit about this kind of wall, I love these kind of walls, but I absolutely hate these kinds of walls as well. Let me explain why. This is great because it's super easy, it's simple, it cuts off the sacred site, you've secured it, and it just means that, you know, your wall is in one place. You don't have to really think about it. The trouble is it's very far forward, so it means that if your enemy looks to try and hit you, they're very close to their base and they can reinforce that position quite easily. It's difficult for you to defend that. As a defender, it's difficult for you to defend that. And typically in this situation, this kind of stone wall, like we've seen people wall others in before. That is not the case here. This is still a defensive wall. So I'd be looking to maybe do something a little bit more closer to home. And then that means, you know, if I get a couple of battering rams over here that are working it down, I'm going to lose this wall, right? And the sacred site. But we don't care about the sacred site. It's more about the trade. Preserving the trade is what's the most important part. So we'll see. Oh, he's only getting 44. Well, that's not good trade. That's not big trade. I mean, it's like, that's kind of all you got though, right? Like you just, you know, if God gives you pineapple, you got to make pineapple juice, little man. I'm sorry, I'm leaving a lot of messages to my son in this video. I'll just say that much. We see nice little shots coming off. Mangoes do go down. Keep will come online. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. These vills are getting taken out. He wants that keep. He's gonna get it. He manages to. Jeez, I guess that means that we got it wrong in the end. Still no boiling oil. Oh my god, the value this man would have got from a boiling oil this game. Jeez, but I mean, to be fair, the only reason we got Demu fighting under the keeps is because there's no boiling oil, so he can do it. He can afford to. No cannon emplacement just yet coming through. It doesn't have the resources for it. More and more units rally through, and we can see now the horsemen just make their way around the wall. So we'll work it out. We'll work it out. All right. Well, I will say that, you know, one of the things I've noticed with Demu is like he's done a lot to improve, especially in recent weeks. But like walling is one of those things where it's difficult to master, knowing where to put the right walls in. But I feel like Vortex had a really good feel for this in the early game. We don't even see a single, oh, actually we do see a single gate along this line. But the fact that he doesn't have that 100% wall, but still hasn't really been exposed that much, definitely indicates that he's doing something right on that top side. All right, well, numbers continue to build here for Demu. So he is down, only on 140 population at the moment. Still got some good resource numbers in the bank. It's going to largely be archers together with Donzos while he waits for that gold income to build. Mangoes still come through. You can see how powerful these mangoes are. The moment the mangonels come in, it changes everything because all of a sudden you've got nothing to respond here. He's going to look to try and repair the mangoes up. The mangoes get repaired through it. Vils managed to take out the first mango while the Vils for himself managed to keep the last one alive. So he plays it well in the end, cancelling out the enemy Vils with his own Vils. Bombard now going to start teeing off. Has Demu picked up adjustable crossbars? Let's double check and see. What do we got from the Siege Workshops? No, he hasn't. Very expensive upgrade. The most expensive upgrade in the game. But it's not yet through. And because it's not yet through, it means that, yeah, because it's not yet through, it means it's harder to justify transitioning into mangoes for your own. But even if you go into mangoes, like, what do you do here? Like, yeah, mangoes make sense. There's a large, massive range units, right? Mangoes make sense. Meanwhile, trade has been shut down. With trade being shut down, I mean, there's no gold, right? There's no prospect of gold. We've got no toll outposts along here yet to help build that gold income. It makes it really tough. All right, well, double bombard out. It's always hard fighting in these little choke points. Vortex is going to try and commit. Brings him out a little bit. Exactly what you want to do in this situation. And now horsemen over towards that top side, going to look to loop around and see whether they can hit these bombards or not. Should be able to find a connection. Donzos do get back in time, but he is going to lose out on that first bombard almost certainly. Second one, he tries to loop around. Let's see if he's going to be able to grab it. No, he's not. All right, well, Demo down to 120 population. Things are starting to look a little bit dire for him. Horseman in the back of the base, and Vortex is slowly starting to inch his way ahead. Look at the units being rallied out here. Vortex just... I mean, Vortex is barely keeping his head above water anyway. That's the wild thing, is that, like, just barely he's staying alive. But I think at this point in the game, like, a large amount of this is Vil count, right? If we look at the difference between these two, 70 versus 120. That's a 50 Vil difference. That's a huge amount of villagers that are actively working here. If we take a look at these vil counts on food, 66 and 42. 42 on wood, 66 on food. He's just all over this map right now, just looking to gather up resources wherever he can. He's still not even trading. He's still not even trading because he doesn't... Never mind. He's trading. I was going to say, he's still not even trading because he doesn't need the gold. He's just happy making the units that he's got. It's a slow trickle of gold that he's got, but he's on triple right now. So triple markets at the back. It's going to be a slow build for him. It's definitely going to take its time. No traders out just yet either. Demu looks like he's... No, don't. This is one of those things I don't like about Age of Empires 4. The units know. Like, they always know. Like, it shouldn't happen, right? If you tell your units to come and attack... I mean, he did kind of tell them to attack right there. You know what? That's fine. I was going to say, if you tell your units to attack here, like, they should just run to the wall and just stand at the wall. And they should just assume that there's no way around. Right? Like, you should have to find the way around yourself. I think that's one of the changes that most people will agree on. Like, units auto-pathing into the hole is a little bit silly. But unfortunately, Demu finds out, you know, the hard way again about this wall. All right, well, the build-up on the front has equalized. Demu 160 pop now. The military number's still looking good for him. He's maintaining. It's always hard to tell with these army values just because they don't count the wood cost on the archers. I don't think they count the wood cost on the donzos. Probably don't count the food costs on the scout. You know how it is. But these horsemen have made it through once again. More donzos at the back. Should be able to clean it up. Oh, my lord. Oh, my... Jeez. It's not pretty. It's not pretty. Vortex just giving him the runaround right now. And you know the painful part is it all just comes down to walls. I feel like I'm a broken record at this point, but it's like... We just don't have walls. And I hate to say it. I hate to be the broken record, but it's like, what else do I say about all of these archers just standing in the back of our base? It's tough to watch. It's tough to watch. He's trying to hold on as best he can. A lot of his economy is idling or idle-free economy, right? Like the cows. You can't be idled on the cows unless they get taken out. The pit mines, they're the same, and they're bringing in a fair bit of dough. It's those villagers. But I mean, even at this point, we're down to 66 vills. Your enemy's got double the vill count. He's still in with a chance. The trouble is, the longer the game goes and you're not killing the enemy units, the more and more they're banking up. Whereas you're just trying to get back to 200 out of 200. So things are looking better and better for Vortex here. Demu going to try and hold on inside the base exactly where he wants to be holding. Still no adjustable crossbars for him. As I said, it makes it almost impossible to justify a mangonel without adjustable crossbars. Donzo's rounding towards the top. Hopefully we see a stone wall like come across somewhere along here, even up towards like this position. And then on the top side, like you can see just a stone wall across here helps. But it's kind of difficult, right, with all the production that he's got here. Horseman going to go for another run. Okay, now we got the message about the stone wall, but we're still wide open. I don't want to watch. I don't want to watch. I don't want to watch the horseman again. Please, this is like the 12th time. Oh gosh, I'm driving myself mad here. Vills have been deleted. Vortex says we've got enough resources. We're all good, and he dives once again. He's shutting down trade completely. That's what the goal is. No toll outposts up just yet for Demu. And you know, part of the reason why I think this might be no toll outpost is just because how often do you get to this kind of point in the game as the Malians? It's rare that it gets to this stage 53 minutes into the game where you're like, I've got no res, I need to start trading. And I guess that's just it. All right, well, slowly and steadily, Vortex begins to move forward. Another keep. Where is he getting the stone from? I mean, we've still got plenty of stone out on the map. That's the wild thing, is there are still big stone deposits on this map, though they are all going to be for Demu. Mango shots, nicely spread. Mango now going to come out for Demu. Demu says, you know what, it's mango time. Let's get the fruit salad moving. Keep in mind, no adjustable crossbars means it's a tough sell. But the archers are still looking good. Demu 166. Military pops are still quite even. Second Mango now going to come out. Loses the first one. He's going to be replaced immediately. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, Horsemen still slowly working down these vills at the back. Look at the massacre of vills that are here. 188 versus 179. It is just... There have been almost 200 villagers lost this game. It has been non-stop, and this keep will come online. And with this palace, this red palace brother... It's not a palace, it's a keep. With this keep coming online, This gets very close to putting that final nail into the coffin here. Because how does Demo go about dealing with this? I mean, you got to go into a bombard, and you really don't want to. You don't want to spend your gold on that. You don't want to have to spend your gold on that, but you need to. How else are you going to deal with it? And you can't wait, because if the cannon emplacement comes through, you're going to have a bad fight, man. That's not going to be an easy one. Meanwhile, more horsemen up towards the north, going to find their way through. And he's just able to do this free. No battering rams, no nothing. Now, this wall has managed to hold an impressive amount of time, but I'm surprised we haven't even just seen like a single battering ram just rallied down towards this wall, because that's all it really takes. And then once again, you're through. Horsemen, horsemen, horsemen. Find the mango. And we're back down to 0 mangoes on the side of Demu. So he's invested a lot into the defense, but doesn't actually get the reward. All right, well, let's check in and see how he's doing. He's up on 86 vills. Now, keep in mind, he does have the 3 TCs. So if there's one thing going for him in this, in that he's constantly losing vills, it's that he's constantly replacing them. Meanwhile, more and more archers continue to move up. I mean, can we just compliment? Look at this. He has units routing into the back of the base. Vortex is playing this absolutely perfect. It is flawless. The amount of units that are coming here, he's just constantly queued up, never once missing a beat, always just constant units coming through. How's trade doing, actually? Let's check in with trade. He's got 42 coming in. How many traders has he got? He's up to 16 active traders. A lot of them on the front here. You want to keep in mind, you want to be going always towards the back. It's going to be quite a bit of difference between the two. Honestly, with this kind of position, I'd be trading down to here. Get you a nice little bit more. The further you can go, the better you can go. All right, well, more horsemen now going to be breaking through. And this is just one of those things where it just comes down to sealing the line and making sure it's there. But I think we might be at a close right now. We're 56 minutes through this game, and I don't see how Demu gets back into it. I mean, it's been a bit of a struggle for like the last 10 minutes or so. But I think that clearly at this point, Vortex is pulling ahead. I think you'd be crazy to disagree with that. And I think the biggest component is just losing, like, Demu can't stabilize the Vil count. That's the biggest issue, at least in my mind, right? I think that if you've gone for stone walls across here, maybe even look to, like, stonewall all the way up the back. And you can realistically, you can do this. We've seen players do it before, where they stonewall the highway, and they say, you're not getting through to my trade highway. It can work, especially when you've got those toll outposts down. Like, you can start pumping. But there's just been constant raids. More than 400 villages taken out this game. An absolute massacre between these two players. And I guess that's, you know, when you go triple TC, both of the players go in triple TC, I guess neither of them really care about losing vills here. All right, well, once again, Demo on the defense. Single mango back here. Looks like he's preparing for a rout here himself. Also being raided towards the north side. Demu's holding on, though. I'm impressed. I would have tapped out by this point. You can see how much he doesn't want to give in. Now, keep in mind, this is not a tournament game. This is a ranked ladder game. We're just playing for points, but you're up against, like, it's rank 2 versus rank 3 at the moment. That's what this game is. So you can see how important it is for Demu to really make sure he fights this game out and make sure, okay, you know what, there was no hope. Even if that bar is at 1% that there's a chance he could win, he's still going to keep his head in the game and still going to try and focus. And I love that. I think that is so admirable, because for me, like, it goes from 50% to 51%, like, chance I'm going to lose. And I'm just like, no, all right, that's me. I'm done. Oh, you know, like, I'll go wash my hands, and then the game will start, and I'll come back. I've been idle for 3 seconds. I'm like, all right, GG. I'm just kidding. I would never wash my hands when I'm in queue. Even when the game starts. Nope, no chance. You wouldn't find me at a sink. You'd find me at a keyboard, baby. All right, more units towards the top. A little bit of an overreaction here as well. We can see the amount of horsemen that are coming through, but the amount of Donzos just overwhelming them. A huge number. And now towards the front, Demu finds a second life here. All of a sudden, Bombard's going to come out, look to focus down the bomb on the Mango on the enemy side. Begins to push up. You can see just how many melee units are here. We haven't seen a ranged unit from him all game. I mean, we've seen archers. Okay, we've seen Muso Fadi. All right, fair enough. We haven't seen javelin throw. Maybe I'm only talking about javelins. Yeah, I was only talking about javelins. All right, well, behind the scenes, he's cleaned up this little raid. He's on 68, so I don't know. I don't know if... Could he really get back into this? Maybe he does get back into this. Hold on. Because he's cleaned. I think the biggest part is stabilizing, right? You got 900 stone in here. Let's put that to good use. I mean, how do you put that to good use with this keep in the front? That's another question that you're gonna have to throw out there. Actually, you know what? If you can maintain good bombard numbers, you can take out the enemy mangoes before they can hit you. And I think that's actually the play. Not to go for mangoes yourself, but to just use your superior archers against the enemy archers. I think that's actually the play. So use your bombards to kill the enemy mangoes. There's triple mango out though. Demo could be in trouble. They're gonna look to try and connect here. He's still bringing them back to kite. Big shots onto the front. Oh my god, there's so much damage, dude. That is crazy. It's crazy how much damage they just do to normal units. Like, you don't realize how much damage they do, but every single unit that was there is just getting absolutely dunked on by these mangoes. And he just cleans it up in a single volley, down from like 160 pop down to 115. Bombards now. Looking to try and tee off on this one mango. It's escaping. Not going to be able to find it. Mangonel response now coming out as well for Demu. But he's on his last legs. You can feel it. The population's really starting to drop. Springald emplacement coming through. Oh, he's got the toll outposts up. Do we out? No. Oh, we don't have any on the trade route yet. I mean, there's not a whole lot of traders here. Meanwhile, on the side of Vortex, the trade number is building up. Resource count still quite healthy. Look at the amount of units he's got in queue. He's got more than 50 units in queue, including 12 hand cannoneers, that's a lot of resources right there. Demu. I think it's over. I think it's over, Red Rover. He's done well. He's done valiantly, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to give him a round of applause. Well, not really. I mean, you feel free to. I'm not going to stop you. But, you know, at this point in the game, there is no comeback story. There is no, you know, we are, the fourth quarter, it is ticking down. We've got possession. We're about to take a knee. We're going to run down this clock all the way because Vortex is putting the keep in the base. And that, you know, we talked about this being almost the final nail in the coffin. This right here, this is the final nail in the coffin. Once this gets up, it's impossible. You can't ever contest this army. It's so damn difficult. Keep in mind, he's also got the Arbalist emplacement on this. He's just going to destroy all these villages. It's so damn difficult from here to take this game from him. Demu going to look one more time to try and find a way through. The mangoes are here. Get some shots off on the alleyway. But the numbers are still quite good. Ville's now going to throw down an outpost as well. He gets a good surround in. More horsemen on the south side. Ville count on 80. Vortex with 35 idols. The keep is online. How do you deal with the keep at this point? He's got the cannon emplacement coming through. Demu's still holding on for dear life. Repairs coming through on the mango. This is wild that he's still holding on now. But I was just going to say, it's pointless, man. We're at 83-20. Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be it. Vortex victorious after what a game. I mean, that was the defense of Demu. We will say that much. But look, at the end of the day, a well played going out to Vortex and nice try from Demu. Go check him out. Links in the description, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Good game.